Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to fix Scream 5 because I hate that movie with passion. I still don't like Scream 5. It is my all-time least favorite Scream movie. I will never buy that on DVD. I have actually been thinking about it since I've watched it. I'm trying to think okay, like this movie sucks. Like maybe there were some good parts of it. Maybe things could be worked around. And so after thinking about it and thinking more about the characters and the actors and everything, I'm all like, okay, there is ways to fix the script of Scream 5 and make the script of Scream 6 interesting. Now, first, before I say anything, in my last Scream 5 video, well, the only one I made, I said that Courtney Cox has been approached by the producers to make Scream 6. She has saw the script. She has accepted. This is true. Now, I might have said Neve Campbell is on board too. I'm not sure if I did or not. If I did, that was a mistake. She has not signed on yet. Smart on her part for two different reasons. One, if she's holding out for more money, that is very smart because Tobey Maguire held out for more money for Spider-Man No Way Home, and he held out for a very long time and got paid very good. Daniel Craig hates the James Bond movies, but he likes to hold out to get more money because he only does it for the money, and they kept paying him for the money until he finally just said goodbye. So that's smart on her part if that's the reason why. If the reason is because the script sucks, then that's another good reason for her to stay far away from that movie. I don't care what anybody says. Sidney Prescott did absolutely nothing in Scream 5. Basically, all she did was have some like cool moments of talking about, oh, I'm Sidney Prescott. Of course I have a gun. And then showed up with two guns. Here, Gail, here's a gun. And then she's all like, person just running out the house screaming with blood on their hands. Should we believe them? Nah. And then so that's basically all she really did. And she gave a couple of advice to like the new girl, but the new girl didn't want to hear it. That is literally all she did. That is nothing. There was no point for her returning. I truly believe she just did just to get some extra money, just for the like whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? I truly feel like they wasted one of the best final girls in all of horror movies and slashers. So you can say all you want. Oh, she was the greatest thing of Scream 5. Oh, she was so cool. Oh, she did this. Oh, she did that. She did nothing. We already know she's smart and wise up to have a gun. She had a gun in Scream 3. We know she has the tracking unit from, I guess, her husband. I'm assuming that's the dude from Scream 3 because he's a cop. So yeah, that makes her smart. But she wasn't smart enough to wear like a bulletproof vest. And she got stabbed as a result. So they smartened up her character and dumbed it down at the same time. So once again, she did nothing and there was no point for her being in that movie. But how can we fix Scream 5? Easy. Now, I'm gonna fix this three different ways. One within the confines of what the movie has already built up. 2 and 3 are just gonna be my own, like what I want, like Scream 5 to have been. Okay, here we go. First thing first, I would get rid of Paramount. All right, they just proven they can't do a good slasher movie. They have proven they can't even do Star Trek. All right, they have pissed me off with the whole soft rebooted, whatever the crap they're calling their new Star Trek shows, but they have proven they can't do nothing. So I will get rid of them and I'll go back to Dimension Films because they are more edgy. Even their worst movies still have some good edge to it. They have some decent Highlander movies. Not all of them are. The first, third, and fourth movie are like the best. And all of their Scream movies have been pretty good. Now, I would get rid of anybody who works in Dimension Films or whatever that has to do with the name Weinstein. Now, Weinstein Productions is no longer associated with Scream, so why in the world are they with Paramount Plus? First, I would just get rid of that. Two, I would recast these people right here. Look, I ain't got time for this crap. All right, I take Scream very seriously. And if your acting isn't up to speed or up par, I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't know why some of these people acting isn't that great, but for whatever reason, it's not. This is not to sound rude or mean or nasty, nothing like that, but just go back to acting school. If any of y'all have even went to acting school, because the dude who played Chad, he's just the son of Cuban Gooding Jr., a famous actor who has fallen on some extreme bad times. Like, that dude need to be arrested if what he did is true. And there's video footage, so yeah, I don't know what the world happened to him. But so I believe that his son never went to acting school. Just saw his dad acting, be like, oh, I can do that. That's what so many celebrity kids do. And this is why their acting is never good. And the reason why their acting career ends within like a year or two, or one or two projects. I would get rid of him. The girl who played Liv, she is not even a real actress. She is a model / singer. That should have told people right then and there her acting wasn't going to be that great. So there's a good possibility she never went to acting school. Now, she pulled off an amazing American accent because she's French. I give it up for that. But, you know, now she has the look of the killer in the movie, but she never was. So she's a nice little red herring. But, you know, her acting just isn't there. Now, as for the girl who played Mindy, she is an actress. And I'm starting to warm up more to the Mindy character. I find her character interesting because she's like a watered down version of Randy, but there's something off with this actress acting. Some tweaking here and there, some more practicing. I think it would have been great. Then there is Sam. I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. Now, she came from a land of TV and telenovela, I think they call it, like soap operas and stuff. I'm not the hugest fan of soap opera people. Sometimes they can do a good job, sometimes they can't. And I'm just not feeling it. I don't know what the world it is, but I'm really just not feeling it whatsoever with her. And I'm not the only person. I'm not trying to rag on you, not trying to hurt your feelings, not trying to make you depressed, but clearly something was not there. And you should have tried harder. And if you knew you couldn't do it, you should have stepped down. So I will keep everybody else, but I will recast these people. Okay, so let's get into actually fixing this actual story. So within the confines of what the movie gave us. All right, Sam is Billy Loomis' daughter. All right, fine, let's keep that subplot. Why not? But you gotta actually do something with it. You just can't say she's the daughter of a serial killer without doing anything major. Now, her boyfriend, yeah, what is his name? Her boyfriend. I don't know. I forget his name. Keep him exactly the way he is. He threw me off big time. I did not suspect he was the killer. However, if I would have saw his promotional picture, I would have assumed it. Out of everybody's promotional picture, he is the only one looking evil. Dead giveaway. But I did not see these pictures the time before this movie even came out. So I don't even know when these pictures came out. Maybe after the movie, maybe before the movie, but if they came out before the movie, he was a dead giveaway because of this picture. And since they made Amber the other killer, all right, fine, whatever. But I would still have her in a relationship with Tara because that was supposed to be like something they had created, but for whatever reason they scrapped. And so I would still give them the same exact motive, like they're keeping it all in the family and killing people who are related to that of their original victims and stuff and survivors. And I would keep them still being toxic fandom. I mean, the only reason why you're upset about that because they called you out. That's the only reason. If you can call everybody else out by this whole being woke and everything and SJW, then you can get called out yourself. You're not God. You ain't the prince. You ain't the princess. You are not nobody special. You are literally just the new form of white supremacy, and like it shows. You're verbally prejudiced and everything. And thank God you're not physically prejudiced, but at some point in time, somebody will be, and this is what this movie is trying to say. So I will keep them exactly the way they are in the movie, but I will change Amber and make her in a relationship with that of Tara. Now, with the whole like keeping it in the family type thing and the whole Billy Loomis' daughter thing, what I would do is this. Keep Gail and Sydney far away from the movie for as long as possible and only have Dewey be in town because he's still living in town. I will keep Dewey absolutely the same. I will keep Gail absolutely the same. I will keep Sydney absolutely the same in this movie. I would probably make Gail more edgy. She needs to be sassy. She can't just be whatever she was in this movie. I'm not looking for evolvement for her being a nice girl. She needs to keep her sassiness and everything. And she needs to keep her edge, and she needs to be greedy like she always is. That what makes Gail fun. When Gail's not that, she's not fun. So yeah, I would change Gail, actually. Okay, so we don't know who the killers are, but so it's these group of new teens. And they are related to people who either survived Ghostface killings or who died in Ghostface killings. I would keep Chad, the horny teenager who wants to get laid. I would have Liv be, this, because she dressed kind of like slutty a little bit and she won't give it up. And so that's kind of interesting, only the fact that you would expect somebody to do that, but she doesn't. And so that's very frustrating for him. So people are going to assume he is the killer because of what Randy said long time ago. He's just probably some horny like boyfriend who can't get it, and it turns him to like raging like lunatic, and I'm paraphrasing, and he becomes like a killer. Pent up frustration. There's always a reason for the boyfriend to want to kill the girlfriend. All right, fine. So that'll be a nice red herring throughout the entire movie. And the problem with the movie was that they didn't explore that long enough. They only had him be a horny teen for the very, very beginning. Then the slight part of the mill that he's in, he's mellow, and then him and Liv completely disappear into the third act. Now Liv wants to give it up, but he doesn't because he's super paranoid. And so I will have him throughout the entire movie just wanting something, and her like no, no, no. And then so we'll see his anger on his face. Nice red herring. Let's see. Now the actual two killers. Oh wait, I will have Mindy be more of a Randy. I will have her because like she was a Randy, but at first she really couldn't tell until the middle part when they're all at her house and like we see, oh, she does like horror movies, and oh, she is a Randy. But why? Give her a reason as to why she's acting exactly like Randy. But unlike Randy, she's kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? But explain why she's obsessed so much with like horror movies and everything. And then so of course have that be a red herring, having the audience believe she could be the killer because Randy, because Randy was obsessed with horror movies. So one would think he would be a killer, but then when they saw how Stu and Billy was acting, they're like, nah, it gotta be those two. So I would have her be more obsessed with it, kind of like a combination of all three of those, Stu, Billy, and Randy. So where it's going to throw people off. I would still have Sam and Tara be sisters. I would keep that. That's very crucial and everything. This movie needs a sassy, rude person. Every Scream movie has two sassy, rude people. And this movie didn't have really nobody who was like that. So let's make Tara sassy and rude and Gail sassy and rude. Why not? And I would still keep Tara surviving the attack of Ghostface in the beginning because, this is a reboot and this is flipping the script. And the Scream movies have always been known for flipping the genre of that a slasher. So let's keep that intact. All this texting that Ghostface does, out the window. I hate when Ghostface texts because I don't got time to read teeny tiny text on the machine, and they do it so fast. Like when Tara and Ghostface was like texting each other, I had no idea what she was saying because they kept going so fast and kept moving it away. Either have the text on like above her head or just don't do it at all. I prefer to have Ghostface call people. It's old school, but whatever. Because if they truly love Ghostface, they will do exactly what Ghostface does, and that is call. I will have the dialogue with Ghostface be more intense in this movie, similar to that of the fourth and the first. The first just being casual and creepy, and the fourth being intense with all the cussing and everything. Because this is an obsessed fan with Ghostface after all. And so I know what you're thinking. Well, what about Wes and what about Sam? You haven't talked about. Oh, and Amber. Okay, Wes needs something to do in this movie. He just does. He ain't do nothing in that movie. There was no point in having him in this movie. And he's an extremely good actor. So why cast an extremely good actor if you're not going to have him do nothing? Now, Stu's actual cousin, that dude who died early in the movie. What if, for whatever reason, he's not as old as he is in the movie, but he's younger, more close to their age? And him and Wes are friends. And so you have Stu's cousin just being super rude, and people's all like, oh, I can't stand him. Why do you hang out with him? He's all like, whatever. Me and him are cool. We hang out and everything. It's not as bad as you think. What kind of personality can we give Wes? Because he ain't have one really. Let's see. I know what we can do. He could be a little bit of a rebel. His mom's sheriff detective. And not sheriff detective. His mom is a sheriff's deputy, and so what if he's kind of like whatever, I like breaking rules. So that's why he hangs out with Stu's cousin. And so he's not like, so Wes isn't bad. It's just like, he likes to piss off his mom every now and then. He probably likes to drink, probably gets in trouble for smoking like weed or something like that, and it pisses her off. And so people might suspect that he is the killer only because, he's a rebel and he likes to disobey the law and stuff like that. So he'll do anything to piss his mom off, even being that of Ghostface. And as for Stu's cousin, by default, people are going to assume he is Ghostface only because he's nasty, rude, and crude, has a criminal record, and he's Stu's cousin. They never brought that up in the movie, and stuff like that. So it's like that'll be more interesting. Now, as for Sam, good old Sammy. Well, with her, when all these killings are going, let's do this. First, we saw that she does have some mental problems because she keeps seeing Billy Loomis and everything. So let's play on that a little bit more. What if not only does she know she's Billy Loomis' daughter, but everybody in the city or everybody in town knows as well. And as a result, people always staring at her, always gawking at her, always talking behind her back, always whispering, and it makes her paranoid. And whether people pick on her as a result of that, and they pick on her so badly and talking about, your dad caused all this crap in town and blah 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 and just all this other mess, and and even though he didn't kill my relative, copycats over the years, in the fourth movie, more specifically, lost their lives as a result of what Billy did. So what if they torment her so bad that she just goes nuts and she's locked up in the mental institute at some point in time in her life? and she gets out, and that's what's giving her, and then, that's why she has to take pills, and and all this other stuff, and she's always seeing like Billy's, like, dead face and everything, and it's because she has psychological damage only because people messing with her. And as a result, when all these killings start, she can't handle it. And you see more of her kookiness coming out. And people are assuming, oh, it's her. I would have that be something huge in the movie where people always assuming she is the one killing people, because when people are dying, she is never nowhere to be found. She would be the biggest red herring to the audience, period. Now, as for Amber, I would still have her be the girlfriend of Tara, but Tara is, I'll make Tara bi instead of a lesbian, and I would have it too, for whatever reason, her and Amber and Tara just broke up. Maybe Tara cheated on her with Wes. He is a rebel, and she is bi in this new version, and so this angers that of Amber. And so when it comes to the original cast, Dewey is the only one still in town. He's exactly the same way. When all these killings have started, it gives him motivation to want to clean up his life and do something again. Let's say he's disgraced now, like sheriff deputy, because he just lost it when Gail left him. And now he wants to clean it up and wants to show everybody, he is the man. And so he's helping these new young teens and everything because he feels sorry for them. Oh, by the way, Sam is the same age as, or around the same age as Tara. Maybe a year older, maybe a couple months, maybe whatever, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have her be older. So anyway, so he's trying to solve this stuff, and Gail, he doesn't call Gail, but Gail shows up because, she's working for this big news thing now, and the killings have brought her into town. This causes a huge argument between those two because he's all like, oh, you can't like call to see if I'm okay, but you come in to see, all these killings happening to make a profit off it and everything. So they can have a huge argument about that. Then he could be all like, how I miss you and all this. And she's all like, oh, I don't want to get into it no more. You could have came with me and you decided not to. You left me and everything. So she's just not like wanting to deal with that crap whatsoever. And she's putting the blame game on him. Now, as for Sydney, Sydney is staying far, 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 far away. And so, like, whatchamacallit? What is it? Something has to bring Sydney into town because she's just like, she needs a good reason as to why she's being brought back. And so, what if the killer somehow finds her number and calls her up and be all like, Sydney, I know your big secret and everything and everything. And so, like, because let's say Sydney, for the first time ever, has a secret, something she's never had before. Let's make her that interesting. And so he's all like, turn on the news and everything. And then she turns it on and she sees all these killings happening in Woodsboro. And so she's like, ah, crap. And so, so it brings her back into town. Well, she is reluctant. I can't talk. She does not want to do. My mouth is getting stuck together. I'm getting thirsty. I gotta drink something. Because one thing I've never understood about Sydney in the fourth movie, why the big character change? Think about it. In the third movie, she was well, even in the second movie, she was paranoid to where she won't give a number out. In the third movie, she's so paranoid, nobody knows who she is in the new town she's living in. She won't even go to work. She does everything by phone and emails and stuff. And she wants to be forgotten. Then in the fourth movie, for whatever reason, she wants to profit off of her sorrow. That made no sense for me in the fourth movie, but it was a reason to bring her back into town. And now, once again, in the fifth movie, she disappeared from town. So she doesn't want to live in that town. So that big secret and then seeing all the killings on like the news is what brought her back, and stuff. And so the killer is still doing this whole, oh, only killing people that's related and stuff. Now, one thing that was kind of annoying at times was every new character was paranoid, thinking their friend was the killer, and then it became too much of a recurring gag. And that's because now people have wisened up to these whole ghost face things. And so that was interesting and different, but it became comedical and everything. They can still be paranoid, but not to the point of Chad being like, well, I don't want to bang you because, you might be the killer. Well, if she's completely butt naked, how is she going to kill you? Is she going to pull like the knife out her butt? I mean, so it was a little bit too comedical and everything. So people are dropping left and right, and people just wondering like, well, who is the killer? Who would I have die first? The most obvious people you would assume would die like first. Probably Mindy, only because she is the Randy clone, and so kill her. Maybe also Wes, because people are like, well, crap, he's the rebel, she's the Randy type person, and also kill Stu Cousin. And they're like, well, crap, dude. Like, these were the like main people you suspected because because of how they act so much like the original people. So if they're dying first, like, what's up? Oh, I forgot to mention Judy. Judy can stay around. She can do the cop detective stuff and keep her silly, goofy like she was in the fourth movie. This movie needs humor in it to have a nice blend of scary and humor, and stuff. So let her be the same way, and she's working with Dewey. As for one of the originals who die, Dewey went out like a boss, but I don't want him to do that. I want Gail to be the one to get killed, only because people always assume Gail is gonna be a killer. You know what I'm saying? And so every movie people assuming Gail is like the killer, so she's an obvious like Ghostface person too. But hey, what if she gets taken out and that's why, oh, she's not Ghostface? And this of course causes Dewey to spiral even more out of control, because now he's like, oh crap, dude, I should have kept my wife safe. If I just would have went with her to LA or whatever, this would have never happened and all this other crap. And what if it causes him and Sydney to get in their first ever argument? They have never gotten into an argument before. And what if he's now starting to blame Sydney and everything, talking about, oh, this is all your fault and blah 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 and stuff like that, because you're crazy ex-boyfriend and everything. And what if also Dewey knows Sydney's secret? Now him and Sydney are very close, they're like family, so he ain't gonna betray her secrets and stuff. And he's all like, so in a way, it's getting down to the nitty gritty and everything, and it's now time to reveal our killers and everything. So of course, like I said, within the confines of the movie, it's still gonna be whatever Sam's boyfriend name is, because I literally just forgot. And it's gonna be Amber. And the reason why they have decided to become killers is because in the movie there's secretly a couple. All right, fine. Keep them as like a couple, right? And so like, oh, and by the way, Tara dies too. Tara dies, Lives is dead, Chad is now dead. This is when we get the reveals of like the killers, right? So all of them are dead. And so it's just Dewey, Sydney, Sam, and what's the face? Amber and whatever her boyfriend name is. So they're revealing, toxic fandom, and we want the reboot. We want to preserve like the original, blah, 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 blah. And we also know your little secret and everything. And the thing is, they want to keep it in the family. They thought that would have been the interesting way to make a movie to kill the survivors and the victims of like the originals and stuff like that. or their family member, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so they went after both, and they're secretly dating, and they both just don't like Sam and Tara. Like, Amber doesn't like that Tara cheated on her and everything, and so she wanted revenge on her mainly. And as for Sam's boyfriend, he, you know, I don't know, he's just crazy in the head, you know what I'm saying? And he just wanted to like off her and everything because of Sydney's secret and everything. Somehow he found it out. How did he find it out? Well, him and Dewey was hanging out, and Dewey got drunk and let it slip. And Sam don't know what this secret is. She don't know what Sydney's secret is. And here comes the big twist that nobody saw coming. What if Sydney isn't little Miss Goody Two Shoes like everybody thinks she is? Remember in the first movie when she was in the bathroom stall and them cheerleaders came in like, maybe she's a slut just like her mother. That, and then so Sydney proved everybody wrong. Oh, she's not like that. But what if she actually is? So here's the twist that nobody ever saw coming. Remember when Sydney and Billy did it in the first Scream movie? What if Sam is not biologically related to that of Tara? What if she's like adopted and everything? And who would be her biological mother? Sydney. See, let's look at it like this. Sydney gets pregnant with Billy's child. She is mortified because Billy is a serial killer. And she doesn't want to have this baby. She doesn't want to have the baby of that of a serial killer. So she wants to have an abortion. But her dad stops her. It's all like, our family don't believe in that. That's not what we do. Instead of aborting the baby, well, we just give it up for adoption. And when we give it up for adoption, we keep this child far, far away from everything that's been going on. Because, if people find out that Sam is related to that of Billy and that of Sydney, her life will be ruined and everything. People will constantly hound her. People will constantly want to get interviews with her and everything like that. Right? So what if, because not only that, but remember, Sydney was still in high school at that time, and she hasn't graduated yet because that was just their senior year or whatever. So with her being a pregnant teen and, wanting to get into college and not wanting to be having a child related to that of Billy, what if she had the child in secret, gave it up for adoption, got it far away from Woodsboro and everything, and decided, this is for the best, and just decided to live her life, you know what I'm saying? And she's always held this guilt in her when she went to college and everything. And so this guilt has always eaten her up inside and everything. And so when it eats her up inside, eventually, so many years later, somebody's bound to find out the revelation and everything. And so, and say whatever the family that adopted her decided to move back to Woodsboro at some point in time after Sydney left for college. And then that's when they had Tara and everything. So yeah, so Sam would be like a year older than that of Tara. No. They had Tara a couple of years later. I forgot Tara's younger. But no, they're supposed to be the same age. So yeah, let's up everybody to whatever age Sam is. It's okay, whatever. They're not in high school, whatever. Maybe they're in college. I don't care, whatever. Anyway, so this will shatter that of Sam's world. You know what I'm saying? Thinking, holy crap, my dad's a serial killer, and my dad tried to kill my mom, and my mom is like the survivor, the main survivor. This causing her just can't believe it, right? And so this is what all these killings have really been about and everything. It's, keeping it all in the family. And the ultimate family is that of Sam's real biological parents and everything. And it's a mistake that, Sydney wishes maybe she could have done things differently. If she would have done things differently, then this would never have happened. So, of course, the killers, they die because they always have to die. And here comes another twist. Sam is nutty in the head. What if she's so pissed at Sydney, she gets so pissed and she turns on Sydney and be all like, this is all your fault. My friends are dead because of you. My friends are dead because of my father. None of this would ever happen if, you and Billy never did all this crap. So then she turns on Sydney and tries to attack Sydney. And she becomes then a new psycho killer. Not necessarily Ghostface, but just a psycho killer. And she tries to kill her mom. But of course, Sydney's not going to kill her own daughter. So Sydney will fight her off, beat the snot out of her, and have her arrested. And then when she's arrested, she's in, of course, a mental facility because she's just nuts. And now when she's in that mental facility, she's planning her next move to become the new Ghostface. And this will continue into Scream 6. And so at some point in time, she will talk her sweet talk magic to that of like the orderlies and the people working in the mental facility that somehow like she'll probably like escape through their help, and then they will help her be the new Ghostface and stuff. That's a whole lot more interesting than that of what Scream 5 was, with a bunch of characters who don't do nothing throughout the entire movie. Because think about it, if you're the daughter of Billy Loomis, why didn't people give her crap for it? You know what I'm saying? And they didn't. So yeah. Oh wow, this video is going on a little bit too long, so let me try to like hurry and speed through how to fix it the second and third way. So the second way, Sam's boyfriend and Amber will not be the killers whatsoever. They'll just be characters in the movie. And so Sydney will not be the mother of what's her face, Sam, and Billy will not be the father of Sam. Her and Tara are still related and everything, but none of that like Sydney, Billy crap. So everybody else that I said is still the same. Dewey is still like, pissed about the whole Gail thing and falling on hard times. Gail's still out of town. Sydney's still out of town living her life, but something has to bring them into Woodsboro and everything. And so now that Sam and Tara are no longer the focus with their lovers and everything, they will not be the final people. They will not be the main superhero people. It will still be that of Sydney. But you gotta find a way to bring Sydney back. And so, what if, say Sam and Tara related to somebody else. I don't know, somebody else that everybody knows. Maybe they're like cousins or nieces or something like that of somebody. Maybe they're like, I don't know, the nieces of like, or great nieces of like, say, Billy's dad. I don't know. They had to be related somehow. Anyway, so they're related somehow by somebody you overlooked in one of the other movies. Oh, it could be one of the other movies. Yeah, they related to somebody else in one of the other movies. I know what now. They're related to somebody in the fourth movie. Somebody interesting. So anyway, don't know who and don't really care. So I'm trying to wrap this up. So anyway, the killing start. Still the same premise of keeping it all in the family. And so when Sydney starts to hear that, family members of the survivors and victims are starting to die and everything, maybe she comes in because she wants this to like end, like just completely end with Ghostface. She's tired of this crap. Oh no, wait, I got a better idea. What if Sydney still lives in Woodsboro? Think about it. In the fourth movie, she came back to visit because she was trying to make a profit off it. But what if so much time has passed and her husband's a detective? She has nothing to fear no more. So she moved back to Woodsboro and everything. And so the only person who has to be brought back is Gail. And she's brought back only because she's greedy. And so yeah, let's keep it that way. Sydney's been living in town for the past 10 years because she's okay with everything now and everything. And no killings have happened in the 10 years since the fourth movie. And so, like, once again, the two killers are keeping it all in the family. So people are dying left and right. Wes is dying because of the whole, he's related to Judy Hicks. Sam is probably dead because, you know, she's related to somebody from the fourth movie and everything. And Stu's cousin is going to be left alive towards the end of the movie because people are going to suspect that he is the killer and everything. And so the big reveal of the new killers, I know this isn't real thought out because I had to like speed things through, but I have thought about who the killers were going to be for a very long time. What if the killers are the twins? Randy's niece and nephew. Think about it. Why is Mindy so obsessed with movies the same exact way Randy is? Not only that, but how do they even really know of Randy? He died before they was ever born. And so, you know, what if we have one who's Mindy, who's very, very obsessed with horror movies the very way Randy is, and we just have Chad being that of a red herring, still trying to get with Liv and everything and throwing people off. So like, you know, because the killer, it always has to be a lover, and one of the killers always has to be like somebody who's really into like horror movies. That's just the formula of it all. And even though they are the killers, what is their motive behind everything? Well, of course, they want to keep it all in the family. They blame Sydney for the death of their uncle, who they never met. A person who they think was very sweet, very innocent, and he was. Like, the dude, you gotta stop and think about it like this. Oh, I didn't reveal the big twist. That's not the big twist, them being the killers. The big twist is they are the killers, but they have a boss. But the boss is not Ghostface in no way, shape, or form. Their boss is their mom. She is the one who orchestrated all of this crap. She is the one who convinced her kids to be killers. She is the one who groomed them to be killers. She is the one who told them all about Randy. Why? Because Martha misses Randy to death. She loved Randy. She has a portrait of him. And she blames Sydney for all of this stuff happening. Think about it. In the first Scream movie, Randy was in love with Sydney. And he hung out with her. And as a result, he got stabbed. Then, wasn't it always kind of weird how Randy went to the same exact college as Sydney in the second movie? And he only did that because he followed her like a little puppy dog. But she fell in love with Derek, and then he couldn't get with her. And as a result, he ended up dying, all because he followed Sydney to this college. And that would have never happened. Now I know what you're thinking. Martha was in the third movie as a cameo, and she gave the tape to Sydney and all of them and helped them out. At that point in time, she wasn't angry then. But when she saw the video footage, because she had no idea what was on it. So when she saw the video footage and saw Randy talking, it brought back a wave of emotions, and she grew angry as a result. And then however many years passed since the third movie, she's been pissed off, angry, and has always been, but she's never thought about plotting that type of revenge against Sydney until the events of the fourth movie. Because she's just kind of like, you know, wow, all these years and Ghostface is still popping around. Maybe, just maybe, because, you know, Jill, because what if she convinced Jill to want to be famous? Remember in the third movie, Roman is the one who convinced Stu and Billy to go forth with their plans. What if she convinced the two killers in the fourth movie, hey, gotta be famous, you know what I'm saying? Because where was she in the fourth movie? She lived in town. So what if she's the one, the big mastermind behind like the events of the fourth and the fifth movie? That would be something really interesting. And so, like, as a result, she just wants Sydney dead. Stewie and Gail, like, who knows? Maybe she wants them dead, maybe she don't. You know what I'm saying? But since they now know, they have to die too. So of course, this would be a big, huge twist, and they would have made the perfect killers. They're twins. They're brother and sister. There's never been like a sibling duo that was like killers and everything. That would have been a much more interesting twist than that of Sam's boyfriend and that of Amber, because Amber absolutely did absolutely nothing in the movie other than give creepy stares and everything. And this would have made that whole basement scene a lot more interesting when Mindy's all like, because I'm the killer. Like, I was expecting her to kill Amber or something like that, but she didn't. And so that would have been a whole lot more interesting. Now, the third way to fix this movie is just something that would have been interesting, never done. What if it's not two killers or one killer, but it's a group and everything? And so, like, what if the group of killers, in fact, are not the main characters of this movie and everything? Um, they're keeping it all the group of killers are in fact keeping it all in the family because they have now offed off the new cast of Scream 5 who are related to the survivors and the killers. And so like somehow this brings like Sydney back in town because she wants to mentor the new cast of Scream 5. And when she's mentoring them, because see, she cares about the new cast of Scream 5 because she knows who they're related to. So she comes back into town and she's trying to like mentor them to how to survive a killer. This would have gave her much more to do than what she did in Scream 5. So the cast that we saw in Scream 5, they're the ones getting picked off one by one, but none of them is the killer. Who could be the killers? Probably it could just be anybody random in town that we see. We'll have a new group of killers. It'll probably be four. Why not four? That's a nice even number. Or maybe five, but let's keep it four. And so it's just a bunch of people that know the new cast and everything. And what's their motive behind wanting to kill the new cast and Sydney and all them? They blame Sydney for everything that has happened. Think about it. It was 20, well, wasn't it like 10 years between like the original Scream and that of the fourth movie, I believe. And so between all that time, there hasn't been a ghost face. Then Sydney shows back up, the prophet off her book, and then all of a sudden the killings start again. What if this angered some people in town? Well, they're kind of like, well, crap, dude. Our rinky-dink little hillbilly town is known for having a serial killer. Tons of like reporters and people come into town taking pictures and this and that and wanting to interview people, but we just want to be a nice, quiet little town. And you brought all this crap. And so then, of course, Sydney leaves after the events of the fourth movie. And it just still makes people buzz about it and everything. And the fact that people are still buzzing about it, that really irritates some of the people because they just want a nice, quiet little town. And so, like, they decide, all right, fine, we're just gonna kill off everybody who is related to the survivors and the victims, and we gotta kill the original three, and then people will finally leave our town alone, not knowing they have created a problem, because now that they're the new killers, people are gonna start bringing back attractions and reporters and buzzing them and everything. That would have been interesting. Not as interesting as my first two fixes, but it would have been something completely different that we've never seen before. We've never seen a group of killers before. That would have took the franchise on something a completely different level. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.